Good morning, everybody. It is October the 4th, 2016, and treasuries have been hit pretty hard over the last couple of days. The rally last week was probably fueled by the problems with Deutsche Bank. Right now we know Deutsche Bank and Commerce and ING for the Northern European banks are in trouble. And then there's probably several Italian banks. One of them's already requested aid, and probably a couple of Spanish banks too. So the PIGS problems continue, and I put an article up showing the interbank lending by the ECB to shore up the weak banks, and the Spanish banks were the weakest of the bunch, got the lowest before they started to recover. So the PIGS problems continue, and in a way it will be supportive for our treasury market. Right now they found buyers below 131. Yesterday they found sellers into 131.08. So you've got support in the 24 to 28 area, and resistance is probably 4 to 8 as the market opens right now. So no news at all this morning for us. Gallup ECI, nobody cares about. Nobody really knows what it means. Overnight, Japanese consumer confidence better than expected. Spanish unemployment was down a little bit. Great Britain's construction spending was higher, and the EU's PPI was materially lower, like 0.2%. So the problem facing central bankers remains deflation. And that's hard to believe when you look at housing and food costs and electrical energy costs in the United States. But that's what they're trying to get: real estate, commodities, and everything back on the inflation side without a lot of success, especially in the EU. So right now we've got, you can see that volume has moved lower in all of these distributions. The controlling volume's up here at 6. So 3 to 7 will be our first sell band, and 11 to 15 will be number 2. On the buy side, 24 to 28, buy 1, and then 17 to 21 to buy 2. On the ZB, the knob spreads come up a little bit, not a lot, but the knob spread, when it moves, it can move $1,000, $1,500 before you see the other side of the market. Again, volume has been moving down. We're through here, so the best volume is up here in this 15-16 area. So we've got resistance 12 to 16, 19 to 23, sell 1, 27 to 31, sell 2. Without news, without a big move in the E-mini, I trading range. On the support side, the buck to 04. $5 to 29, buy 1. And then 13 to 17, buy 2. Gold was quiet, knocking on the door of that 1305, 1310 area, where it was when I looked earlier this morning. Pointed lower. The low volume number is really basically 1305. So we're drifting lower. The bottom hasn't fallen out of the market. So 5 to 7, buy 1. 1300, 1302, buy 2. Play for stops below 1300. Somebody's going to cover their shorts against 1300. That's the way it works. 14 to 16, sell 1. 18 to 20, sell 2. It had nothing but B's behind us. B in the overnight. Nothing structurally or price-wise tells us that the market's going lower. The low volume number is 1305, so leaning against 1305 is a reasonable trade. Leaning against the buck is even more reasonable. Euro got hit pretty good overnight. Managed to get stops beneath that low. And we're pointed lower, but again we're finding support 10 to 15 below the buck, so it's 85 to 90. So we'll make 75, 85 by 1 and 1150 by 2. On the sell side, 1215, 1225, sell 1. 1240, 1250, sell 2. Okay, put an interesting article out, came from Bloomberg on the deal Iran is getting, and it looks like it has Saudi Arabia's blessing. Basically a joint project between Iraq and Iran to increase production on the Ali oil fields along the Iraqi-Iranian border. And again, Iran's position is that, you know, we're going to take our production up to 4 million barrels per day. So looks like that they haven't been flat out refused, which means they probably will get it. 75 to 49, sell 1. I think we're going above 50. And 49, 25, 50, sell 2. On the buy side, 48, 48 and a quarter, buy 1. And buy 2, 47, 50, 47, 75. Pretty much where we were last night. And I kept this before I split it out. I want to show everybody, hopefully TC's in the room. But the market needs volume between that point and that point. And you can see where it's filling in. Profiles, it's never perfectly so, but you'll get what are called saddle formations. And then the tendency of the market is to fill it in. So the tendency of the market is to fill in volume between these two areas as this distribution normalizes. Now it won't be perfectly so, but you can see right now that the seller's against 60. And we went out last night for basically wanting to sell 54s to 59, so 55s to 60 is where resistance was. So come on in and play with your distributions, put them together, look for these voids where the market needs volume. Put it into context. Is there anything there that could change things materially in a big way? And today we really don't have anything that can do that. And and we should expect sellers in the 60 area, and initially we should have buyers against 50, and we'll see if that plays out today. So for the night session, that's what it looks like, and it looks like it's pointed down. So selling is stopped at 56, so we're at 54 right now. This high is 57, so this 57 to 60 area will be sell 1, 64, 66, sell 2. On the buy side, support is at 50, 50 to 52, buy 1. 45, 47 by 2. Right now I like the short side better off the opening. I think we ought to get stops at least below 50, and we'll have to pick it up from there. Okay, it's going to take a bit to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that. I'll be back with you as soon as possible.